Chapter 3 The Pterodactyl's Egg. One evening on his way home, Badan Babu sits on a bench by the riverside thinking of a story to tell his son. Let's read on to find out what happens next.
Namaskar.
Badan Babu turned and found a stranger standing near the bench, a man exceedingly thin, about 50 years old, wearing brown trousers and a jacket, a jute bag slung from one shoulder. A contraption hung from his chest. 2 rubber tubes attached to it were plugged into the man's ears.
Hope I'm not disturbing you,
said the newcomer with a slight smile.
I sit here in this very spot every day. This is where I do my experiments, you know.
Experiments? What kind of experiments could one do in this open space by the riverside? He could be a hooligan, couldn't he? Or a pickpocket? Good God, today had been payday. Badan Babu's salary, 2 new crisp 100-rupee notes, was tied up in a handkerchief and thrust into his pocket. His wallet had 55 rupees and 32 paise. Badan Babu rose to leave.
Are you leaving so soon?
I must go. It's getting late,
said Badan Babu.
I don't ask everyone to sit by me for a chat, but you strike me as a man different from others.
Badan Babu said hesitantly.
Well, I don't know. I mean...
The newcomer took out the rubber tubes from his ears and said,
I get worried sometimes. If I were to press the switch accidentally in the dark, all hell would break loose.
At this point, Badan Babu could not help asking the question that was trembling on his lips.
Is that a stethoscope?
The man ignored the question completely and threw a counter question at him.
How many kinds of travelers have you seen?
Badan Babu said.
I didn't even know travelers could be more than one kind.
Why, there are at least 3 kinds. Anyone could tell you that. Those who travel on water, those who travel on land, and those who travel in the sky. But the kind of traveler I am talking about does not move on water or land or even in the sky.
Where does he move then?
Time.
What?
He moves in time.
The man said.
It's all quite funny, really. 300 years ago, right here, by this bench, a crocodile happened to be stretched in the sun with a crane perched on its head. A Dutch ship stood where the small boat is now tied. A sailor came out on the deck and shot at the crocodile. The crane flew away, but dropped a feather in my lap. Here it is.
He produced a dazzling white feather from his bag and gave it to Badan Babu.
What are these reddish specks?
Asked Badan Babu.
Drops of blood from the injured crocodile fell on the bird.
Badan Babu did not know whether to laugh or cry. How could that little machine have such magical powers? The newcomer seemed to read his mind.
This machine here,
he said,
has these 2 rubber tubes. All you need to do is put these into your ears. This switch on the right will take you to the future, and the left one will take you to the past. The little wheel with the needle has dates and years written on it. You can fix the exact date you wish to travel to. I made the machine myself.
Have you traveled to the future?
Yes, once I did, but not too far. Only up to the 30th century.
What did you see?
There wasn't much to see.
And how far in the past have you traveled?
I have tried very hard, but the farthest I could go back to was when the reptiles had already arrived.
Badan Babu's throat felt a little dry.
What reptiles?
He asked.
The Ganga did not exist then,
said the man.
This place was full of uneven stony mounds and a lot of wild plants and creepers. It was getting dark. Suddenly, I could see a pair of brilliant red eyes. I knew this was a Stegosaurus. It was crossing the pond. I froze with fear and was about to press the switch to return to the present when I heard the flutter of wings right over my head. I looked up and saw a pterodactyl, a cross between a bird and an animal and a bat, swoop upon the Stegosaurus. My eyes fell on a large rock lying nearby. Inside the big crack in the rock lay a shiny, round white egg, the pterodactyl's egg. Even though I was scared stiff, I couldn't resist the temptation. The two animals began fighting, and I pocketed the egg.
Badan Babu did not join in the laughter.
See, I would have allowed you to test my machine, but the chances of getting a satisfactory result are very remote. But you can try your luck.
The man tugged the tubes into Badan Babu's ears, pressed a switch and grabbed his wrist.
I need to watch your pulse.
Badan Babu whispered nervously.
Past or the future?
The past, 6000 BC. Shut your eyes as tightly as you can.
Badan Babu obeyed and sat for nearly a whole minute with his eyes closed. Then he said,
Why, nothing seems to be happening.
The man switched the machine off and took it back.
The chances were 1 in a million.
Why?
It would have worked if the number of hairs on your head was exactly the same as mine.
Badan Babu felt like a deflated balloon. The newcomer put his hand inside his bag again and brought out something else.
May I hold it in my hand?
Asked Badan Babu. The other man offered him the shiny round object. It was quite heavy and its surface remarkably smooth.
All right, time to go now. It's getting late.
Badan Babu returned the egg.
Hope you're coming here again tomorrow,
said Badan Babu.
Let's see. There's such an awful lot to be done. Goodbye.
Badan Babu boarded the tram and slipped his hand into his pocket. His heart stood still. The wallet had gone. He got down from the tram immediately. As he began walking towards his house, he felt like kicking himself.
Now I know what happened,
he thought.
When I closed my eyes and he held my hand, what a fool I made of myself.
It was past 8 p.m. by the time he reached home. Biltu's face lit up at the sight of his father. By then, Badan Babu had started to feel more relaxed.
I'll tell you a good story today,
he said, unbuttoning his shirt.
What kind of story, Baba?
The pterodactyl's egg, and many more. It won't finish in a day.
If one carefully thought of the material he had collected today to make up stories for Biltu to bring a few moments of joy into his life, it was surely worth at least 55 rupees and 32 paise. By Satyajit Ray, translated by Gopa Majumdar, abridged. Contraption. A strange-looking machine or device. Hooligan. A young troublemaker, usually one who belongs to a gang. Strike. Here, come across as. All hell would break loose. A situation that would turn noisy and violent. Counter question. A question asked to oppose or deflect a prior question. Specks. Very small spots. Mounds. Large piles of stones or soil. Scared stiff, extremely frightened. Pocketed, put something in one's pocket. Deflated, to feel less confident or positive than before.